Here's a quick trivia question. What movie character has had more appearances than James Bond, has been on more rooftops than Batman, and has appealed to more generations than Charlie Chaplin? The answer is Santa Claus. Whether you call him Kris Kringle, Father Christmas, or Jolly Saint Nick, Santa Claus has been an icon of the holiday season for centuries. So it's only natural that the Jolly Jelly Belly would be a fixture at the movies, especially during the holiday season. Hi folks, and welcome to The Binger. In this video, we'll look at the various performers who've inhabited the white beard and the red suit, whether in live action or animation. So let's get started. Steve Guttenberg in Single Santa seeks Mrs. Claus. Call it the Mrs. Claus. Santa needs his son Nick, played by Police Academy star Steve Guttenberg, to find a wife before the son can succeed him as Santa. Meanwhile, the lonely single mom and driven ads executive Beth, played by Wing star Crystal Bernard, needs a Santa for her next big ad campaign. Beth's son Jake, played by Dominic Scott's KAYE, comes up with the perfect solution to his mother's problems: send a letter to the North Pole. Only one problem: Beth doesn't believe in Santa. Can Nick find his lady love before Christmas Eve? Can Beth find the perfect Santa for her ad campaign? It'll take a Christmas miracle. Bryan Cranston in The Santa Claus Brothers. He is the one who knocks on your rooftop. In this 2001 animated special, Breaking Bad star Bryan Cranston plays Father Christmas and the father of triplets. Santa wants to retire, but first he must decide which of his 3 sons will take over the family business. So Santa comes up with a contest. Whichever one of his boys can first understand the true meaning of Christmas will take over as the new Santa. Will it be the inventive Mel, voiced by Kids in the Hall star Kevin McDonald? Will it be the party-loving Daryl, voiced by stand-up comedian Harlan Williams? Or will it be the science-minded Roy, voiced by young Sheldon star Richard Kind? Doug Kay in Santa's Boot Camp. Elves on strike? Santa quits? Holiday grounds to a halt? What could cause such a Christmas catastrophe? When outrageous demands from spoiled kids stretch the patience of Saint Nick, played by Doug Kay, the entire holiday season faces the danger of cancellation. His solution? Bring 6 diverse kids to the North Pole to clean up the mess that their attitudes created. Santa puts the kids to work doing the elves' jobs, making toys, checking lists, and cleaning out the reindeer stalls. The kids soon discover that not everything in Santa's workshop smells like fresh-baked cookies. With a half-dozen bratty kids and a workforce on strike, can Santa still save Christmas? Jenny McCarthy in Santa Baby. Not all Santas have white beards and big bellies. Some have blonde hair and big hearts. Former Playboy playmate and MTV Singled Out host Jenny McCarthy plays Mary Class in the 2006 TV movie Santa Baby. Mary has a high-powered job as a successful businesswoman, but Mary also has a secret. She's the daughter of Santa Claus. When Santa, played by Cheers star George Wendt, falls ill just before Christmas, the task of saving Christmas falls on his estranged daughter. Can Mary apply her well-honed business skills to get Christmas back on track? Evidently so, because the film spawned a sequel titled Santa Baby 2: Christmas Maybe 3 years later. Alec Baldwin in Rise of the Guardians. Santa Claus, tattooed badass? In the 2012 animated film Rise of the Guardians, Alec Baldwin voiced Nicholas St. North, a burly, tattooed Russian. This version of Santa, better known as North, doesn't depend on elves to make his toys. In his case, Santa's little helpers are 7-foot-tall yetis. These huge, hairy creatures build the toys, while the elves test them before delivery. When not delivering presents, North hones his sword-fighting skills and checks the naughty and nice lists tattooed on his forearms. North also leads a group of mythical heroes known as the Guardians. These Guardians include the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and the Sandman. Together with Jack Frost, the Guardians fight Pitch Black, the Nightmare King. David Huddleston in Santa Claus the Movie. Talk about a war on Christmas! In the 1985 holiday classic Santa Claus the Movie, Santa goes against an evil toy manufacturer in a battle for the soul of the holiday season. Santa, played by the Big Lebowski star David Huddleston, works with his elves to provide toys for all the good little boys and girls. One of his elves, played by Dudley Moore, leaves the North Pole after one of his ideas to improve the toy-making process goes horribly wrong. Moore's elf joins forces with a corrupt billionaire, played by John Lithgow, to capitalize on Christmas. Can the holiday spirit overcome 80s-style corporate greed and John Lithgow's overreacting? Jim Broadbent in Arthur Christmas. British actor Jim Broadbent is one of the few actors to portray Saint Nick in both live-action and animated features. Broadbent starred in the 2014 Prison Break movie Get Santa, as well as the voice of Santa in the 2011 animated film Arthur Christmas. In Arthur Christmas, Broadbent plays Malcolm Claus, the 12th person to hold the title of Santa Claus. Malcolm must train his son Arthur, voiced by James McAvoy, to take over the role for the next holiday season. He also has to deal with his ambitious son Steve, voiced by house star Hugh Laurie, and his cantankerous father, voiced by Pirates of the Caribbean star Bill Nighy. Paul Giamatti in Fred's Claus. Hundreds of movies have been made about Santa Claus, but have you ever wondered about Santa's loser brother? What's his story? Vince Vaughn and Paul Giamatti answers that question in the 2007 film Fred Claus. John Adams star Paul Giamatti plays Nick, the pride of the family and the latest in the long line of Santas. Wedding Crashers star Vince Vaughn plays Nick's brother Fred, a repo man who needs money for a get-rich-quick scheme. How does Fred get the money? He works for his brother at the North Pole. Fred's lazy attitude and partying ways rub off on the elves, which causes trouble for Nick and puts Christmas in jeopardy. Richard Attenborough in Miracle on 34th Street. The original Miracle on 34th Street became a holiday staple since its first screening in 1947. Although it was remade in 1973, the 1994 remake stands as a modern holiday classic. When a department store Santa gets drunk before the Thanksgiving Day parade, it's up to Dory Walker to find a replacement. Dory, played by big star Elizabeth Perkins, finds an older gentleman who bears a striking resemblance to jolly old Saint Nick. The man, played by Jurassic Park star Richard Attenborough, goes by the name Kris Kringle and takes over as the store's new Santa. Dory's daughter Susan, played by Matilda star Mara Wilson, convinces Kris to grant her Christmas wishes: a new stepfather, a new house, and a new baby brother. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to The Binger. If you're on mobile phone, you can turn on notifications through YouTube settings so you don't miss any of our great content. Now, back to the video. Leslie Nielsen in All I Want for Christmas. Leslie Nielsen made his name as the bumbling detective Frank Drebin in the Naked Gun movies and Police Squad TV show. In the 1991 movie All I Want for Christmas, Nielsen plays a department store Santa who gets a call to fill a nearly impossible Christmas wish. Hallie O'Fallon, played by American Beauty star Thora Birch, asks Santa to get her divorced parents back together. Nielsen's Santa steps in with some holiday magic to reunite the family in time for Christmas. Unfortunately, that magic didn't extend to the box office. Home Alone, which came out a year before, made more money in its first weekend than All I Want for Christmas did during its entire run. Douglas Seale in Ernest Saves Christmas. Comedian Jim Varney may be best known for providing the voice of Slinky Dog in the Toy Story movies. However, for fans of a certain age, he'll forever be known as Ernest P. Worrell, the star of such films as Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Goes to Jail. In the 1988 film Ernest Saves Christmas, cab driver Ernest must help Santa, played by Douglas Seale, find a successor to the role. Ernest and Santa must convince a children's TV show host, played by Oliver Clark, to take over as Santa before it's too late to deliver the presents. Meanwhile, a runaway teenager named Harmony, played by Noelle Parker, steals the magic sack where Santa keeps his toys. John Call in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. nearly everyone on Earth has seen or heard of Santa Claus. But what about Mars? In the 1964 cult classic Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, the man in the red suit is also a big deal on the Red Planet. Such a big deal, in fact, that the Martian leaders decide to kidnap Kris Kringle, played here by John Call. But not all Martians agree that Saint Nick is such a good influence on the planet's youngsters. Some Martians conspire to eliminate the jolly old man. However, when Santa finds a suitable Martian replacement, the aliens agree to send him back to the North Pole. Calls as Santa makes this a fun watch, despite its low budget and questionable performances. Ed Asner in Elf. From a cult classic that's so bad it's good to a true classic that is just so good. The 2003 holiday film Elf features Ed Asner as Santa, a gruff but fair taskmaker to his elves, including Will Ferrell's Buddy. When Buddy decides to go back to New York and find his birth father, Santa gives him some sage advice about how to navigate the Big Apple. For instance, Santa lets Buddy know that gum on the street is not free candy, and that peep shows have nothing to do with sneaking a peek at Christmas presents. When Buddy visits a department store and finds a fake Santa, he defends his mentor's honor in one of the all-time great comedy brawls. Tom Hanks in The Polar Express. Before Tom Hanks dons the red sweater of Fred Rogers, he wore the red coat and white beard of Saint Nick, or at least a CGI version of them. Hanks was the driving force behind the 2004 Christmas film The Polar Express. Hanks optioned the children's book upon which the script was based, as well as starring as the conductor of the titular train. Hanks also provided motion capture performances for many of the characters, including Santa Claus. While Hanks received his usual stellar reviews for his performance, the film drew some criticism for its reliance on CG. CNN film critic Paul Clinton called The Polar Express a wee bit horrifying, and Rolling Stone's Peter Travers called it a failed and lifeless experiment. Tim Allen in the Santa Claus series. Before he was the voice of Buzz Lightyear, Tim Allen played the lead in another type of Toy Story. Allen played Scott Calvin in the 1994 holiday film The Santa Claus. After Santa suffers injuries from falling off of Scott's roof, Scott puts on the famous red suit and delivers some gifts. The elves inform Scott that since he puts on the suit, he must now fill some large black boots. During the following year, Scott undergoes a physical transformation from fit bod to dad bod to full Father Christmas bod. The original film made nearly $190 million against a $22 million budget and spawned 2 sequels. Bill Goldberg in Santa's Sleigh. You really don't want to get on this Santa's naughty list. In the 2005 slasher flick Santa's Sleigh, former pro wrestling champion Bill Goldberg plays a Santa that no one wants to see come down their chimneys. This Santa is far from jolly. He's the son of the devil. So why does he deliver presents on Christmas Eve? Because that was his punishment for losing to an angel. In a curling match! Just think of how different Christmas would be if it had been a wrestling match instead. One of the creative ways in which Santa disposes of his enemies is to run down an old man with his sleigh. In this case, it was Grandpa who got run over by a reindeer. Hulk Hogan in Santa with Muscles. Bill Goldberg isn't the only pro wrestler to go from wearing wrestling boots to black snow boots. Former pro wrestling champion Hulk Hogan swapped his red and yellow wrestling gear for the iconic red and white suit in the 1996 film Santa with Muscles. Hogan plays Blake Thorne, a self-made millionaire who gets amnesia while wearing a mall Santa suit. Blake convinces himself that he's the real Santa Claus, so he takes on a group of baddies seeking to take over an orphanage. Fun fact, one of the executive producers of Santa with Muscles was Jordan Belfort. Belfort was the notorious stock market scam artist featured in the Oscar-nominated 2013 film The Wolf of Wall Street. Edward Ivory in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Have you ever wondered if the other holiday icons are jealous of all the attention that Santa gets every December? If you have, the 1993 stop-motion animated classic The Nightmare Before Christmas has your answer. When Pumpkin King Jack Skellington, voiced by Chris Sarandon, discovers a portal that leads to Christmastown, he develops an identity crisis. Jack wants to take over from Sandy Claus, voiced voiced by Edward Ivory, and become the new icon of Christmas. So Jack's assistants kidnap Santa and hand him over to the evil Oogie Boogie, voiced by Ken Page. After Jack rescues him, Santa has to replace all of Jack's gruesome gifts with perfect presents. Talk about a holiday from hell! Richard Riley in A Very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. Santa Claus might be all about the red and white, but these guys are all about the evergreen. The 2011 threequel, A Very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas, reaches new lows and new highs at the same time. Everyone's favorite bud-loving buds are back, and back in trouble. When Harold fires a shotgun in the air, he inadvertently hit a certain magical sleigh. The sleigh's roly-poly passenger, played by Richard Riley, falls out and smacks the pavement, forcing former medical student Kumar into action. Kumar performs emergency surgery to save Santa's life and Christmas as we know it. As a reward, Santa gives the guys a ride in his sleigh, replaces Harold's Christmas tree, and reunites the estranged friends. Kurt Russell in The Christmas Chronicles. Jack Burton. Snake Plissken. Ego the Living Planet. Santa Claus? Legendary actor Kurt Russell takes on another iconic role in the 2018 Netflix film The Christmas Chronicles. Russell inhabits the character while breaking down long-standing myths. He doesn't ho-ho-ho, and his belly is far from a bowl full of jelly. When two kids sneak onto Santa's sleigh, they startle the reindeer and cause a crash. The kids now have to catch a flying reindeer, convince the elves to fix the sleigh, and break Santa out of jail. And you thought Santa had a lot to do on normal Christmas Eve. Fun fact, Goldie Hawn, Russell's longtime companion, makes a cameo as Mrs. Claus. Charles Durning in Mr. St. Nick. When King Nicholas XX announces he wants his son to become the new Santa Claus, you'd think the younger Kringle would jingle with excitement. In the 2002 TV movie Mr. St. Nick, the apple falls a bit too far from the Christmas tree. Instead, the elder Claus, played by Charles Durning, must convince his son Nick, played by Frasier star Kelsey Grammer, to take the job. While the elder Claus feels at home at the North Pole, the younger Nick would rather spend his time partying at South Beach. Will Nick finally take the reins of the sleigh and the family business? Will he trade in the sandy beaches for the snowy slopes? Jeff Gillen in A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. With those 6 small words, a department store Santa crushed young Ralphie Parker's dreams. Jeff Gillen's department store Santa represented Ralphie's hopes and dreams of getting an official Red Ryder carbine-action 200-shot range model air rifle. Instead, young Ralphie, played by Peter Billingsley, felt the sole of Santa's boot shove him down a slide of despair and hopelessness. Moments like this have made 1983's A Christmas Story one of the most enduring holiday films of all time. Any kid who had hoped to get the toy of their dreams only to be denied by the big man in the red suit could feel Ralphie's pain. Ken Hudson Campbell in Home Alone. It's only a short scene, it's not with a big-name actor, it's not even the real Santa. But the scene in the 1990 classic Home Alone between a mall Santa and a lost little boy shows more heart than a lot of those on this list. All Kevin McAllister wants for Christmas is his family. Even his forgetful mom, his bullying brother, and his annoying cousins. So Campbell's mall Santa promises to relay the message to the big man. He even gives Kevin a few Tic Tacs when he runs out of candy canes. Fun fact, former Saturday Night Live cast member and Tommy Boy star Chris Farley auditioned for the Santa Claus role. Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa. At the opposite end of the spectrum is Willie T. Soak, played by Billy Bob Thornton in the 2003 hit Bad Santa. Willie's an alcoholic. He's bad with kids and he hates his job. So why would he want to be a mall Santa Claus? Because malls are where the money is, especially as Christmas time. Willie and his partner Marcus, played by Tony Cox, work their Santa and his elf acts to get access to shopping malls. When the mall closes, Willie and Marcus clean out the safes like a hungry Saint Nick cleans out plates of cookies on Christmas Eve. But when a young boy believes that Willie is the real Santa, will that be enough to change Willie's wicked ways? Not really, no. So what do you think? Did we miss your favorite movie Santa? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to The Binger to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.